Hey everyone, this is the Relationships and Chill podcast, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to know when you found the one. And some of the key takeaways would be know what you're looking for by knowing yourself and become what you desire to attract. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Relationships and Chill, the podcast for singles and couples about how to find and cultivate the relationship you've always dreamed of, based on trust and honest communication. Why waste your time going through the typical dating obstacle course, only to end up with drama, jealousy, and heartbreak, when you can find the love of your life and live happily ever after? So sit back, chill, and get ready to make relationships great again.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Welcome to another edition of Relationships and Chill. I am your host, Coach R. Anthony, and I am joined by the love of my life, my woman, Coach Elulu .net. My wife, Coach Elulu, is here. We're going to talk about some very important stuff.
Hey, everybody.
This episode is being sponsored by the husband and wife material guides that we're going to be having coming out. Mm-hmm. Also, the couples compatibility checklist that we have coming out. Also, you guys don't want to miss that. Definitely check that out when it comes out. We apologize for not recording last week. We had a lot of things going on. So we're going to definitely make sure that this one is worth about 5 of them. It's gonna be worth its weight in gold when you guys take the time to listen to it all the way to the end. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to know that you found the one. How do you know you found the one is what we're going to be discussing today. And I think it's very interesting, especially if you're out in the dating field. Now, if you're already in a relationship, or if you're already married, then you probably don't want to hear this just in case you like, this, my person ain't the one. No, but they are the one. Trust you me, they are the one. It's just a matter of perspective. And so we're going to approach this basically how we knew we were the ones for each other. Mm-hmm. How we came to the conclusion that this is it. I ain't going nowhere. I don't want nothing else. This is it. Like, I'm going to be with you. We're going to be together for life.
Right.
Period. How do you know when you found that, though? That's very interesting, and that's what we're going to touch on today. How do you know when you found that person that you're like, this is it for me? I'm cool. I can be with this person for the rest of my life. So I guess I could start off for me, right? The way I knew, actually I talked about this before. I knew before I knew. I knew before I knew, meaning that I knew that she had the potential just based on a picture that I saw. I was like, that's going to be my woman. Mm-hmm. Didn't know her from anybody, but I was like, if she meets certain qualifications, she has certain characteristics, certain traits, she's not in a relationship, she doesn't have all this stuff going on, then we can move further and further and further. So it was a progressive thing for me. It wasn't just like I knew she was the one and then everything just happened, just fell into place, so to speak. It was a process. It was a layered process. When I first saw her picture on there and I sent her a request on Facebook, I wanted to monitor her, and not monitor her like that, but I wanted to like observe her and see how she was, the type of person that she was. I didn't just want to, just come straight out, because it could have been just a failed mission, and the mission, would have carried on, it would have kept going. So you never really know who's watching. I got a buddy of mine who had a couple of, most of my homeboys have had a situation like that where they observed the woman. They knew they wanted her. They knew that she was the one for them. They knew that they wanted to marry this particular woman. I got a buddy that waited about a year and a half before he actually approached her. He wanted to watch her for a while because he had made the mistake prior to her of choosing the wrong woman. And it was a disaster. So he was more cautious at this point because he didn't want the same thing to happen and he didn't want to deceive himself. So I know it's a lot of women out there that kind of want to rush the process of dating and getting married and having kids and doing all that stuff, but it doesn't always work out like that. I saw a young lady a while ago who posted something on Facebook. She said that she could not do the friend zone with a guy. If a guy came to her and said, listen, I'm interested, but we're going to have to be friends for a year. She was like, no, I'm not waiting.
Wow.
She was like, nope, not going to happen. And, you know, the crazy thing is, like, she's over 30. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like she's young. Not, you know, obviously if you're over 30, you're still young. But I mean, like, you ain't a fresh spring chicken. You ain't like 19, 20, 21, 22 where, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense that they feel like, well, the best years of my life type of thing. Like, it's just a mentality that I'm speaking about. Not saying that that is the case. I'm just saying from the societal perspective, that's how people view it. If you're over a certain age, you should be a lot more patient, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
In the process of meeting someone, especially if you're over 30, I mean, you could be any age, but I'm just saying, especially over 30, you don't want to just make a decision just to make a decision. And that's what I'm saying about that. Just because you feel like, well, I should be married or I'm not going to waste my time talking to somebody, and it doesn't pan out. Well, if it ain't gonna pan out, it's not gonna pan out regardless. But I said all that to say that he wanted to observe this woman and get to know her from the outside, and not jump right into it and be what's the word I'm looking for when you're just all shook up in love?
Sprung.
Well, no, not sprung. No, like, I mean, you know, when you're just in love mode where you can't really see straight, you can't really think straight. Anyway, it'll come back to me. I get what you're saying. It'll come back to me eventually. But he didn't want to be in that mode. And another buddy of mine, the same thing. You know, he waited about a year before he actually made a move to really say, hey, listen, I'm interested in you, and this is what I want to get to know you. I want to get with you, you know, that type of thing. Same thing with the guy before I was mentioning. He did the same thing. He, at the point where he finally approached her, they got married within probably like a year. Like, it didn't take long. Mm-hmm. So, you know, a lot of women will complain about the process taking too long, but you're still gonna, even if you're with somebody, you're still gonna be in that 3-year range anyway. So altogether is about 3.5 years. You know, from the time he saw her to the time they got married was about close to about 3 years.
Okay, yeah. Or
2.5 years. So, so you're going to run into the same thing if you got a man that's patient. And that's why I created this checklist, because there's a lot of things that women don't take into account when a lot of women only think get married. Right. So a lot of women miss the patience and the other traits that a man is exhibiting. And those are the things that are most important to the long-term thinking of a relationship. Not just, it's just like anything else. If you try to plan this and do this thing short-term with short-term thinking because you want to do this, you want to get married, you want to have kids as fast as you can, then the process, easy come, easy go. As fast as it comes is as fast as it goes, because you're really not getting in a relationship for the right reason. You're not getting in a relationship for that person. You're getting in a relationship for yourself, and that's horrible. You know what I mean? You get into a relationship for that person because of what that person means to you, what that person is bringing to you to cultivate something for the two of you, and vice versa. And that is what establishes a great relationship. So for me, I knew I knew this going in because my mentor, I saw it with them. I got like the best glimpse of what it means to be in love, what it means for a couple to be together forever, what it looks like, what does it feel like? And that's what we've cultivated. We've cultivated that aura that people can feel. They're like, man, it's just something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? But excluding them, we feel different when we just like we are different in the sense that we can literally just hang around each other for pretty much all day. You know, we got our own little spaces, our own little things that we do, but for the most part, we're here together pretty much all day.
Yeah. And
so, you know, but for me, I just knew before I knew. Because I had that mentality,
right,
and that's kind of like the first part for me, you know. And I can go into go ahead.
I was gonna say I did not have that mentality at all.
Right.
I knew it was like a mix of I know how, you know, now I've learned from you how important it is to know what you want. Mm-hmm. I was like in transition of I was about halfway. Like I knew what I did not want from what I had experienced before. And I also finally for the first time had been able to narrow down exactly what I wanted. And I knew I was like, I'm going to find this. Like I was just determined. I knew within myself, I will find this. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how long it was going to take. I didn't care how long it was going to take, but I was like just focused on what it was. It was about half and half what I wanted and what I didn't want.
Okay. What did you determine and how did you determine what you wanted? Like what was the conclusion that you said, okay, this is what I absolutely must have this is what I absolutely want?
For me personally, I'm not saying this is going to be like this for all women, but I had really just for a moment looked back at like my habits and the type of people that I had been meeting. And then I was like, okay, somehow, I don't know, but it just like hit me. I'm like, I'm going to need someone that can teach me, like someone who
that can lead you.
That can lead me. And I definitely had to be another one that was like right away I knew I needed to be the priority, like absolutely number one in that man's life. Mm-hmm. Those were like the two major ones that were like big shifts for me that I was focusing in on and looking out for. Mm-hmm. And I saw that definitely for sure right off the bat with you.
Mm-hmm. Now, what did you see?
That I was a priority for you, and you were teaching me. There was like things that back then you had your blog with the Sex and Will Diet, and you had your podcast, and I was like, "Ooh, he got a podcast, and he had a book out." I was like, "Okay, this man's different."
You know what I'm saying?
And so I loved that, and I felt like we were just like on a similar path. Like I was also in a place where I was just like asking similar questions of things you were covering and teaching with those platforms. And I could tell you were also in a space where you're just like learning and growing and things like that. So it was like I recognized immediately what I wanted, and I also recognized immediately like the similarity that was within me. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I knew this is going to be something important.
Would you say that it was because you started the process of going in a certain direction that caused things to kind of align?
I believe so.
Like looking back on it?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so for sure.
Yeah, I think so too, because, you know, that's how it works. You know, that's really how it works. And similar to you, I had went through the process after I saw my mentor and his wife. of meeting other women, of course, but I learned from those experiences what's most important, and it's most important to know what you want as opposed to what you don't want. And I talk about that, and I go into really big detail in the checklist and the guides about determining and establishing what you want as opposed to being so strong in what you don't want, because what you don't want becomes dominant in your life, and you begin to absolutely focus on those things that you don't want because they will be heavily in front of you, and those are the things that you will constantly attract, or you will attract new don't wants. You'll attract new things that you don't want. So it's a habitual process, and as you get to know someone, the things that you don't want, if you're don't want dominant, you will have a don't want relationship, meaning that everything in the relationship is going to be a product of what you don't want. You're only going to see things that you don't want to happen. And so it moves really into a fear-based relationship where now you're pushing the person to become what you don't want. And you are reconfiguring and creating in your own mind a mentality, like I said, of don't want, but that person is against you. But they're really a manifestation of everything that you've been thinking and saying up until that point. And so that's why it's important to kind of reconfigure your experiences by not just saying what you don't want, but pointing out the things that you want. And instead of saying, I don't want this, say, I want this, the outcome. You have to focus on the outcome. So that way, as you move into a relationship, and as you say, listen, I need you to do this, or I want you to do this, and then they do it, you will see what they're doing and you will appreciate it. So it actually opens up. See, one thing it does, when you are heavily vested in don't wants, it moves you into a fear-based relationship. When you are focused on what you want, it moves you into an appreciative relationship, because you're able to see what that person is doing because you're in tune with things that you want, the good stuff, the positive, and you're in tune with the outcome. And as you get more in tune with the outcome, you will be more in tune with the appreciation of the outcome. So it puts you in a thankful space. So, but that's what I gained from the experience afterwards. I knew, based on the things that I had saw, I said, if it's not like that, I don't want it. I want a relationship like that. See what I did there? I want a relationship like that. If it's not like that, I don't want it. But I want a relationship like that. So it's okay to start with what you don't want. That's cool. But don't end there.
Right.
Put what you want at the very end.
Right.
Or at the very beginning. But make sure you put it in there. Mm-hmm. If not, you're going to be, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want that. Well, what do you want? I don't know. That's the funniest thing about when I talk to people about what they want. You know, I say, well, what are you looking for? I don't know. I just kind of know it when it happens. But if you don't know what's happening now, how are you going to know what's going to happen or what's happening then?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a difference if you say, I know what I want, but I don't know when it's going to happen. But when it happens, I'll be aware.
Right.
And that's the key. You know, being in the moment, being present, but knowing what you want allows you to be present. And when you meet the person, if you're in the present moment and you're aware of who you are and the things that you want, then it'll become apparent that person exhibits those traits of things that you want. Because there's a certain frequency that comes with being in line with what you want. Because you have to do the things in order to get what you want. It's like with your workouts. You know, in order to lose 5 pounds or to weigh, let's say you weigh 150, you want to weigh 140. In order to weigh 140, you got to do things that get you in tune with being 140.
Right.
Meaning that you have to exercise a certain certain amount a day, eat a certain type of way to tune you up to the point where you're now weighing 140 pounds. But you can't just do it by saying, I don't want to weigh 141 or I don't want to weigh 150 no more.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, but people do that with dating. They say, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want that. Well, what do you want? Because you're going to be weighing the same amount if you don't determine what you want and then get in tune and start moving towards that direction.
Right.
Of what you want. And then you have to calibrate your whole life to what you want. And then it just falls in place.
Right.
It really does just fall in place. I know for me before too, I really kept myself guarded. Like I really was like, I'm holding on to this very special part of me for the woman that I choose to be with. Like there was this part of me that every woman I was meeting, they wanted more insight into who I am. They wanted to, because I could get into some deep stuff here, but the way the way that we work as humans, I'll give you guys this. The way that we work as humans is to the degree that we allow someone in is the degree of the depth of the relationship that we establish. So this is another sign to look for. How open you are, or how let's see, I can say it like this. How a person opens you up internally determines their position in your life. So the level of intimacy that we created is based on the information that I allowed her to have about me, and vice versa. So as we got to know each other more, and who she is unlocked certain parts of who I am, and certain experiences that we had together unlocked a part of myself that I kept guarded. That's how I knew that this woman had a key to a specific part of me that no other woman had. And a lot of it came through the problems that we had in the relationship early on.
Right. Yeah.
So just because you're having problems does not mean that the relationship is over. It just really means that it's time to dig a little bit deeper, or allow that person in, or call it off. But most of the time it's just because people don't want to allow other people in. They don't want to be vulnerable with the tough conversations and the tough information, the secrets and the things that we hold on to and that we guard. Yeah. Like this woman knows everything about me. Like she knows all the deepest stuff about me, who I am.
Mm-hmm. And you about me.
Exactly. And so that allows you in to a deeper level of who the person is, the person that they don't show or can't show everybody else. And that's how intimacy is established. It's established on the back end, in the quiet, the place where nobody else can get to. That's intimacy. That's how you get in. And if a person is not allowing you in, then you may not have the key, or they may not have the key. If they can't get past, or if they can't get in, they don't have the key. And that was one of the guiding principles that I used. I protected myself, and I was aware of the protection that I had. So it made me aware that if a woman could penetrate and unlock this door, then I need to look in a little bit more. But guess what? That's only phase one. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you got past phase one. Most everybody gets past phase one. But when you get to phase 19, I'm going to start looking at you a little different. Like, okay, we on to something here. But you have to be aware of, and I'm not talking about guarding yourself from being hurt. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about guarding yourself in a way that, I mean the level, the unlocking of your heart to allow a person to fully explore who you are, to go into the deepest depths, to go into the darkest darknesses of your heart, of your soul, of your life, of your experiences. And you allow them in a way that is unique to anybody else you've ever dealt with. and they have to allow you in. See, that's another thing too. It's one thing for them to be masterful at getting in, but they also have to allow you in.
Right, they have to reciprocate.
They have to. Well, you have to have the key too, because some people are just really good at getting into a person's mind or a person's heart, and then that's it. They just feel. But you also have to have a degree of unlocking to their heart too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was one of the main things that I held on to, and I made sure to observe as I met different women throughout my life. But yeah, for me, that was one of the main things. What you?
I think too, when it did get to those times where we had bumps in the road.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Also, it was also seeing my reaction to you help me realize that you were the one. Like my willingness to be vulnerable and my
something unlocked in you too.
Right, but after I said that, I just remembered also how much you really had to pull it out of me. But
well, you didn't know how to be vulnerable at that time. Though.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so my willingness to open up that side of me to you, and also,
or maybe I had to unlock it. Maybe it wasn't that you didn't know how. It's just that I had to edge you along and make you and unlock it up. By, just turn the knob a little bit.
Yeah, you did help me out a little bit with that one. But also too, I guess before that is how much I was willing to like do whatever it takes to make our relationship work and to figure out like what was going on with me to help become more of the woman that you needed for the relationship to work. And then I think that fed into like me being able to finally be vulnerable with like getting out of my comfort zone and my walls and things like that.
How do you think you established those walls?
That is a good question. I never thought about that part of it. Like how I established the walls. I think it was a lot had to do with the fact that I hadn't even been there. Does that make, like, I didn't even understand it. I didn't even know the truth of it. So there was like no way I could even share it.
But share what?
Like,
because this might be a new area we need to go into.
I like share what was on the other side of like those walls. And
okay,
like that.
And we're here now at this point.
Yeah. So, I think that had to do a lot with it, and then, you being the person, with your analogy with the key and everything, you helped me understand and study myself so that I could, I guess, even like communicate it to you. Because I didn't even know it myself. I think that was like the biggest thing.
Know what?
I didn't even know, like the walls were up to so many different things because they were to places that I never dug into.
I think to a certain degree we're all like that. I think, as we go through and dig through these walls, dig and knock down these walls, I don't think you can do it yourself.
No,
you can't do it.
Yeah, done that by myself.
I don't think, because you don't know they're there until somebody brings, and that's a whole nother comment. Because I want to definitely touch on something that's gonna probably change the whole narrative.
Yeah.
About self-love. So, well, the thing is, you have to have somebody who is skilled enough and who is willing and loving enough to delve and help you delve into the things that cause you to miss out on the opportunity, on any opportunity, but specifically with them, because I believe that people are sent into our lives when we're ready for them and when we're open enough to allow them in. You know, because it's kind of like having your door bolted down. You know what I'm saying? And I could be a master locksmith person. You know what I'm saying? But I may be able. You may got 10 locks on there. I know how to break down these 9. I just need you to open this one. You know what I'm saying? Just unlock one. I can do the other 9. I know these locks. I'm comfortable with these locks. I'm an expert in these locks. But this 10th one is something that I'm not aware of. This is a new one. This is something that you created that is unique to you. You're the only one that has this key. So I need you to unlock this. But I'm going to tell you how to unlock it because you lost the key.
Ooh.
So I'm going to teach you how to, and that's kind of like the philosophy, and that's kind of the analogy I'm using that happened in our relationship. On both sides, but specifically more so for me because I was more experienced and I have a better understanding. Obviously, that's kind of why I wanted to create this, but not obviously in that way. But I have a little bit more working knowledge on how the mind and the heart and how we are as humans. So I wanted to use that, and I learned all this through work, and that's why I said and used those. I created the purpose of a man, the purpose of a woman, the purpose of a relationship, because a man should be able to do this. He should be able to delve into you because we are the more logical being. Now, she can help me become more emotional, which she has in the sense that I have more compassion for people. I have a more capacity to want to understand why people are the way they are, and more willingness to help them. Because before I was like, if you ain't giving me the draws, you ain't getting no help. If you ain't bending it over, it's over. No, I was just, but no, but for real though, I really was like, I'm gonna give you more, and I always say this, but I'm gonna give you more than what you think you're gonna give me. You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm going to do is unlock some things that you've built up over time. But that ended up being a problem too, because then they established and developed these feelings for me that I told them there's not going to be anything more. But because they had never had someone unlock these doors for them, they now feel like this is it. But I didn't feel like that. They couldn't unlock any doors within me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't get in because I was a master at understanding why they wanted to get in. They wanted to get in because they wanted me for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. They wanted me to be a showcase. Like, they just wanted to say, I got this nice trophy guy, this nice, you know what I'm saying? This nice statue of a man. And then I would have been a pretty much a broken man, because I would not have been allowed to flourish and be genuinely who I am. Mm-hmm. I would have been caged. I would have been a caged bird. But I got to fly. You know what I'm saying? And that's one great thing about you, baby. Like, ain't no cages.
Nope.
You just like, hey, the window's open. I'm like, man, this is a nice place, nice facility. You know what I'm saying? I get all the bird baths I want. I get all the treats. And I can fly every now and again. You know what I'm saying? I can go out in the trees and look out and be with the other birds. And then I'm like, man, y'all gonna sleep outside. I'm sleeping in the house tonight. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to ramble on too much more about this, but I think what I want to say about this is, there's a certain level of freedom that comes in having the right person. And as you begin to chip away at the things that are binding you to a certain way of thinking and looking at things, just the whole process of dating and getting to know someone, we're bound to what we believe is supposed to happen. And when you meet someone who you can come to the conclusion and the awareness with, or a little bit before, that this is who I am. I can only give you this. And that person accepts that. That's what is a good indication, or the best indication. The freedom that you have to express and be who you truly are without the masks on.
Yeah.
Is the key to finding, because you got to know what you're looking for in order to find it. But when you find it, it's going to be the key, because it's not going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. Like it didn't just magically appear. We went through a process that really ended us.
Yeah.
The way we used to think.
Right.
But it gave birth to the way we think now. So that's why a lot of people that are in these relationships, I encourage them to try something new. Try it this way. Try it that way. Look at it like this. But now, like, I can't really do it with just one person. I have to have both of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to talk to both of the parties involved in order for me.
Oh, when helping couples?
Yeah, because one person could literally mess up the whole process.
Yeah.
If they're not in agreement that this is what we're going to do, then the whole thing will be for nothing. But it could work. It could literally work. If you're in a relationship right now where you feel like you're the only one working, two things. Either you're working because you want to save face, or you genuinely want it to work, but you just don't know how to make it work. And that's where we're going to be offering soon, is counseling for for couples and for singles, because specifically for couples, you need both. You got to have both in order to come to the awareness and come to the understanding of what is, because there's so many things that I could talk about, because people believe, and this is kind of like a side thing. That's why I'm saying it's going to be like 5 episodes in one. But people believe that the person they're with, that they've chosen to be with, is not who they're supposed to be with because of something they're doing or not doing. But usually what I find is that person is exactly who you're supposed to be with. That person is doing exactly what's suitable for you. You just have been influenced, and you believe that this person is doing things contrary to what should be done in a relationship. But the reality of it is that person is ideally who you're supposed to be with, because you're somewhere in what you're doing on a daily basis is a reflection of what you're saying that person is doing. It's a fact. The thing you're complaining about is the thing you're doing.
Oh, yeah. I see that a lot.
Yeah. The very thing that you're complaining about is the very thing you're doing. You're not doing it to the degree that person is, but guess what? You're still doing it. You're still making the same decisions as that person. That's why you initially got with that person in the first place. Now, the subtle details, we can, touch on those in another episode. But for this one, you don't want that kind of relationship. This is why this stuff that I'm saying is important, to honestly be true to yourself. But with the understanding and the awareness that you're going to have to make some concessions. If you want the best relationship, you're going to have to make some concessions to the things that you're holding on to. Meaning you're going to have to relinquish some of the grips on the things that you believe about yourself that are not true. Because a person that is going to want to be with you is going to challenge the things that you feel are true about yourself. If they don't do that, then you're going to attract exactly what you are. But if a person wants to elevate who you are to become better than who you are, I think you should be open to it. Mm-hmm. You should be open to allowing that person to interject their strength maybe in that area into your life.
Right.
But if you're closed off and think that this is just who I am, then you will eventually start to believe that you're not compatible. You may not be compatible in that one area because you're holding on to it, but what are they holding on? And that's what makes you compatible, because both of you guys are holding on to something. That's like attracting like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's so many more things, but if I could just sum it up into those things, if I could just sum it up, just the things that I kind of wrote down that I probably won't, to sum it all up, the things that I probably won't touch on is just who you are. For me, I'm a teacher. I love to teach. I love to learn. I love to share information. I love just becoming better. And that's something that won't change. So the way I approach it is by knowing that about myself, what won't change, what will be the same, meaning these are things that I absolutely will do with or without her. And I love doing them. And they're only a benefit to me and to everybody around me. That's what I'm talking about. Not just anything holding on. You believe that you a bad bee or, you're a real N-word. No, I ain't talking about that. You got to let that stuff go. You got to let that crap go, because only thing you're going to attract is what you don't want, allegedly. But if I could sum it up, I would say that who I am at the core and who I will continuously be in the future is a lover, is a learner, is a thinker, is a person that is continuously getting better and continuously growing, continuously evolving into a better self, and is a giver. That's not going to change, right? That's not going to go anywhere. But what I do is I give the best of it. I wanted to package the best of it, the condensed version of it, up for the woman that I wanted to be with. And that's what I did. And so that's what caused us to have this type of relationship, is because she's accepted those traits and they outweigh everything else, I would think.
Yeah.
The things that I do well or excel at.
And the things you do well and excel at was like the main things that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And that I was open to. Because it's the same thing, like, yes, one of the big things I was looking for was a teacher and a leader. But I was also at my core someone who's willing to learn mm-hmm. and willing to work with the partner who I was going to be with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't cry, baby. It's okay.
I'm not crying.
Oh, okay. You got a little sentimental and quiet there, baby. But yeah, I mean, just pay attention to the levels of trust that you have and openness that you have with a person. And as you give trust, you get more trust. As you become more open, we tend to allow people to become more involved in who we are, because we trust them more and more and more and more. And if you hold on and stay focused on those things, relationships they work if you work them. They last if you last them. But it's just, a couple things. I mean, they work. They absolutely work. But sometimes people have this mentality that they can just go and just get a store-bought relationship, and they get mad at the fact that it doesn't taste homemade, and so you can't be mad at the store for making a pre-made cake, based on their recipe. You can go to the same grocery store and get all the ingredients to make your own cake, and that's what we try to give you. We try to help you guys get the recipe to bake your own cake so that it tastes exactly how you want it to taste. And you won't be able to complain to anybody else but yourself, because it's your recipe. This is your recipe. This is something that is unique to you. With the right ingredients, you can make and develop and attract the type of relationship, the type of person that you want. You can attract the one by putting these certain ingredients into your life. And like I said, it really just boils down to understanding the things about yourself that won't change, that are productive, that are progressive, things that'll help you to always the uniqueness that you bring to this world. What is it what makes you unique? What makes you stand out? Who are you? What ingredients make up you? The good and the bad. You need both. You can't deny and neglect the negative traits about yourself. But the key thing with that is to make sure that the things that you give are good, even though internally you're still progressing in these areas, and you have to rewrite the narrative of the things that you have experienced that cause you to look at it as a bad. Because everything is good when you look at it good. From the worst things that could ever happen to a person, can be looked at as a good thing. Even though it's not a good situation, it's not a good thing, but the way you look at it determines what you are.
Right.
You know, that's
perspective is everything.
Perspective is everything, because if not, you cannot develop power playing the victim, regardless. You cannot become powerful and play the victim your whole life and everything. So, you know, that's something to grow on, one to grow on. But like I said, take these ingredients, take this recipe, and with the guides that will be coming out, the checklist, and create your own cake that tastes the way you want it to taste. And if it don't taste the right way, start all over again till you get the recipe right. But I promise you this, when you do get the recipe right, man, it's gonna be the best cake you ever had in your life. You're gonna love it. I'm telling you, you're gonna love that cake so much you will not want to ever go and buy another store-bought cake. You don't want the cookie cutter relationship where people tell you, you know, this, that, and the third. You know, you want a relationship that is meant for you because it stems from you. And so, in closing, that's pretty much it, you guys. We are working on some things. We're going to do a lot more interviews on the podcast coming up after episode 30, 31. I got some other stuff I probably want to do, but it's going to be around 30, 31. We're going to take like a month off. A brother needs a break to recalibrate, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to be doing some amazing things coming up on the Relationships and Chill podcast. We want to be the love hub. We want to be the place that you come to when you like, what should I do? What should I do in this situation? But from a spiritual perspective, you know, we want to do it from a perspective that is encompassed in stuff that you ain't gonna get just from your run-of-the-mill relationship guru. We're not your gurus or your anything like that. What we are, we're just people that, we're like guides. We're like tour guides. Like, where you want to go? We'll take you there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to take you wherever you want to go, but we're going to tell you why you might not want to go to this particular part of the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we ain't going to let nothing happen to you. At least under our watch. We're going to make sure that you are protected. We're going to make sure that you're aware. And that's the key. The key is awareness. The key is to be self-aware, to be aware of yourself, to be aware of what you're bringing in. And, you know, and attract better. You know, our goal is to make relationships the best they've ever been. Forget great again. We're going to make them better than they ever been before.
That's right.
So,
where can they find more of these gems, my love?
Hey, listen, I got a pocket full of them.
Pocket full of gems.
I got a pocket full of gems. Now, but you can catch us on at Relationships and Chill on Instagram, Facebook, same thing, at Relationships and Chill. Relationshipsandchill.com will be up soon. If you have any questions or anything, you can email me at contact@relationshipsandchill. That is contact at Relationships and Chill. It's Coach R. Anthony. What you got, baby? Where you at? Where can they find this beautiful woman at?
Thanks. Y'all can find me at on Instagram at Coach Ululu. That is my IG handle. And I am there helping inspire, motivate all you ladies out there, again, to focus on your self-growth, improve that self-awareness, and I like to approach it as well from a health and fitness perspective. So that's where I be at.
Did you have any more points you wanted to touch on before we go?
With finding the one?
Yeah.
I think we covered it. The main thing is, like you were saying, focus on exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm. Not what you don't want.
Right. I think that was like I was saying, a big shift for me. Is I was so clear on what exactly I was looking for. And I was ready and willing to fight for it and like put in the work.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't accept nothing less than her. That was my thing. I just would not accept anything less. But I knew I had to become something different to get her. So, and I did that. And guess what? Immediately when I saw her, I said, "That's gonna be my woman." That's how easy it is. Once you get through all the clutter, it's so easy, and so it just makes so much sense.
Because you're aligned with it.
You're in tune with it.
Right.
You know, I'm like that. What it was when I saw your picture was that is the woman that could go with me throughout this life. You know, based on your energy, just based on the energy that I saw in the picture, a combination of all the stuff I learned about body language, about energy, about attraction, about myself, just all crystallized in that one moment when I saw that picture, and I said, "That's her."
You were in tune, my love.
Tune, baby. In tune. But anyway, that's today's episode. Like I said, you guys can catch us in those various places. We love you guys, our faithful listeners and new listeners. If you're listening to this for the first time, we appreciate you listening. And make sure you stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button so that you can stay abreast of all of our latest episodes. Make sure you go back and check out some of our previous amazing episodes so that you can see what we're all about. You guys, it's been real. It's been good.
It's been real good.
And we out of here. Y'all take it easy. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Relationships and Chill. For more information on cultivating the relationship of your dreams, please follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Relationships and Chill, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Relationships and Chill TV. You can also visit our website at www.relationshipsandchill.com. Together, let's make relationships great again.